So, hello, Kendra. I've
Hi.
I've never heard that name before.
Really? It's a popular American name for sure.
I've never heard it in England. I've never heard it at all before. So I had no idea if you're going to be a man or a woman. Either.
So
I'll tell you how I found Rider Share.
yeah,
So
definitely.
when I decided to go to California, the only place that people in England um, rent a bike from in America is Eagle Riders.
Hmm.
That's the one that everyone knows. So I checked on Eagle Riders, and then there's a choice of about 12 bikes or something, but only three or four different types of Harley.
Hmm.
And then it was so expensive as well. And then I was thinking, oh, I'm doing this on a budget. And I said, it's going to be too expensive. I won't be able to do it. So in a real hurry, I spent a few days Googling, and I don't know how I found you in the end, but it's a brilliant company. So when I tell people that I've been to California and what I did, I tell everyone about Riders Share.
Hmm. Thank you.
Well, no, so I'm sure you'll have more English people coming to you. But tell me, I mean, I know how it works now, but you tell me.
We're a two-sided marketplace where you can connect with other riders. You can rent from them. It's pretty simple. When you search, you put in the area that you want to ride and the dates that you want to ride, just like you did. It's going to show you what's available, give you all the pertinent information about that bike, seat height, engine displacement, all the information we can provide. You can message the owner if you have questions before you want to rent. You verify your license with us. It's a pretty simple process. We try to keep it is a rental contract, right? So there's a lot of information we have to pack in there, and it can feel a little bit laborious, but we try to keep it as simple as possible.
And all of that really easy. And is the sort of license transferable in every state? So the British license, you can use that anywhere in America.
Yeah, that's my understanding. We can accept them, like through our insurance, they'll let us accept pretty much any international license as long as it's an equivalent to an American license. So
So you have all the legalities for the ride and the riders. No, the rider and the sort of renters.
yeah, that's the beauty of it, is that it's really hard. It's commercial insurance for rentals is really expensive. So by covering the rental insurance part of it, we can allow people to, put their bikes up for rent with us. California, Tennessee, Florida, places that people really want to ride. And, maybe it's a lot, sometimes it's people who don't have motorcycles, who got sold their motorcycle years ago. Maybe they want to ride while they're in Miami or something like that. International riders coming over and riding in California or what have you, like you did. Yeah, it's really cool to see, riders connect with each other and then also get to have really unique experiences because they don't have to do the logistics of shipping a bike or dedicating themselves to riding 5 or 6 days on the road to go ride to their destination where they actually want to ride.
What I liked about it as well is that when I put the dates and that I wanted a Harley or an Indian, I had a choice of something like, I think it was 126 bikes. And
Mhm.
they went from about sort of $30 a day to about $150 a day. So really there's something for everyone, isn't there?
Yeah, we really try to. I want to kind of manage expectations, right? Because you were renting in California, right? Like you're renting in the LA area. So that's going to be a place that has like plentiful bikes. Some areas are going to be smaller, right? Like you may not have that selection in Washington, D.C. or somewhere else. But I mean, we are growing. There's always more bikes being listed. And yeah, I mean, there's a pretty good selection. And
Over here, do you have MOTs over there? Do you have an MOT? So we have everyone, you know, with a bike or a car, you have to have an annual MOT, which is, you know, your bike has to pass certain, or your car has to pass certain standards to be roadworthy. So,
Oh, vehicle inspection. That's going to be state by state for the US as far as like a legal requirement. For us, vehicle owners are, of course, signing an agreement that says that they're providing a street legal and safe bike. Sorry, my cat's trying to get in here. But we, you know, owners are agreeing to provide a safe bike. Does that happen 100% of the time? No, unfortunately not. There are things that, you know, unfortunately, there are some things that, you know, could be preventable, like maybe a dead battery or something like that. Our best as far as customer support to help out the customer there, help them find a new bike if need be.
so the bike that I got was in brilliant condition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually know that owner. He's great. Kyle. It's Kyle, right?
So I didn't have any problems with that bike at all. So, and over here we have the AA, Automobile Association, and the RAC, and there are a few other ones, but you can get cover with that as well. I got cover in California. So what else do you do to make sure that, I mean, do you do tires, and do you make sure that there's regular services, or?
Well, so that all of that is going to be that is the responsibility of the owner, right? It's their bike. They need to keep it up to the original manufacturer maintenance. They're responsible for doing all those things. We want to provide the best quality product that we can, but at the end of the day, like, they're vehicles and things will happen sometimes. But you know, we always work with the owners and the renters to come up with solutions to make sure that nobody's stuck on the side of the road. You know, I've arranged repairs on the fly. You know, when someone's in the middle of nowhere, you know, I'll call around and help find a repair for that bike and try to get them in and out so that they're back on the road. But then there's also, you know, when it happens, we have some processes in place to try to, you know, get the renter back on the road. And I mean, for me, every time I've had a long distance trip on my motorcycle, if it's not my bike, at least somebody in the group, something happens usually, especially if you're riding Harleys, something's bound to vibrate loose or something like that.
Whole time on my own, which is what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I stopped for, I don't know, to have, it was so hot, so I was sort of stopping often for a drink or to do a wee or something. But every single time that I stopped, another motorcyclist would stop as well and say, "Hey, you're okay?" Really, really, really nice.
I love that. Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. I've done that before too, where I'll just like ride past somebody and be like, you know, see they're on the top side of the road and I'll just be like, "You good?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Stopped. It was great.
Yeah.
In California, that you're based in California.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so our business was originally based out of California, but then our CEO moved back to Texas. So I guess technically we're based out of Austin, but you know, he lives in Texas, I live in Oklahoma. You know, we have some people here and there. We got an employee in Tennessee and New York as well. So
But you have all of the states covered?
everywhere but New York right now because of basically because of some insurance issues. People can still ride through New York. You just can't start your rental in New York, right? You need to rent a bike in New Jersey or something.
New York State.
Yeah, so everywhere but New York State. So, I mean, we've even got bikes in Alaska. We got a handful of bikes in Hawaii. People rent in Hawaii a lot.
I know that with RiderShare, you can rent out extra straps and stuff like that, which I didn't do. But Kyle, the bloke who rented the motorbike to me, he brought all of those along, and And he was really great as well, because he said, you've got my number, give me a call, if you need anything at all, and I'll come and help. So that was really good.
Yeah. He and I have never met in person, right? Because he lives there in California and I live in the Midwest, but he is really great. He cares a lot about his bikes.
And of course, they get reviews and everything as well. So
Mhm.
get more rentals if they've got reviews.
Yeah, so the people that get, reviews obviously help build trust, with renters. But we also RiderShare tracks some performance metrics, right? And we have some owners get a badge that says power owner. And that means that they, rarely have cancellations. They always accept requests. And, are just, and those people get pushed up to the top as well. So yeah, good reviews and, following through on rentals and being, a good communicator is really important. And we definitely reward those. I think we should talk more about your trip.
Okay.
I would love to know more about your trip and, what led you to, take that leap.
I did it because I said to you that I was, something really, really terrifying happened to me and gave me PTSD. And I was suffering from it. It really sort of changed the way that I I was. I sort of wasn't recognizing myself anymore. And I've always been, happy-go-lucky and jolly, and then I found that I sort of wasn't liking myself so much. I was ready to cry and, tired and having nightmares, and then I just decided that for me the best thing would be to get away, as far away really as possible. And people kept saying, well, why don't you just go to France? And I was saying, no, I really want to get away.
Yeah.
I wanted it so that nobody could say, can you come back and do this, or I'm looking for you, or I really, really far away. And it really worked. It The first day when I landed at LA, I mean, the whole plane trip, I hate saying things like this because I hate crying, but the plane trip over there, I was crying most of the time. And there was a woman next to me from LA, and I kept saying, I'm sure, just really annoying her. And I was really, really nervous. And when I walked into the hotel the first night, I kept sort of looking back at the door and thinking, it's fine, just calm down. I can turn around, I can go back now, or I could just stay the night in this safe hotel and then go back tomorrow. First day, when I actually got onto Kyle's bike and rode off, I sort of thought, as soon as I swung my leg over, really, I thought, this is the beginning. I'm not going to go back from this. And then navigating out of LA was quite traumatic. But then I started to get easier of mind. I think it was about the second day, really, when I began to just be really happy and really self-contained and just really enjoy myself. And that whole thing as well, before I went, of thinking, I don't know. In fact, my son said, oh, you have actually got a friend in LA. So I saw him the first day and the last day that I was there. But I was thinking, it was one of the worries. I don't know anyone there, and I never go anywhere really on my own. And am I going to be safe? But then, and then my GPS didn't work. I kept losing it and thinking, oh God, the first day I was thinking, oh God, which way am I going to go? And then I thought, doesn't matter, I'll just go, that way looks nice. And that is when I sort of began to really depend on myself more. I began to be really happy again and feel that I'd found myself.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful story. And, kind of you sharing that initially is really what made me want to talk with you more, because I'm also a person that has PTSD from different experiences that I've had throughout my life. And to like the biggest surprise of my life, motorcycling has been so helpful in healing that. And yeah, I mean, I just wanted to talk with you more about it. I'm just kind of.
But with the PTSD, I found that as soon as I get on the bike, everything else just sort of disappears. And
Yeah.
first of all, I didn't, you don't realize if it's because you've got so much to concentrate. You're concentrating on the road and what's around, coming out of the road, or
Yeah, it's like maybe you could relate to this, but for me, I've spent a lot of time disassociating, right? Like my mind goes somewhere else because, I don't want to bear whatever I'm having to go through or whatever. I've been disassociated out of my body, just disassociated for so long. And when you're on a bike, that moment that you swing your leg over and you start the bike, you have to be fully in your body. You have to be fully aware. You have to have eyes in the back of your head. Like you have to be so present for your safety, right? In the way that you won't be in a car. And I found that so helpful in bringing me back to myself and building confidence, right? Going places on your own. And, in your case, in a different country, like that's just such an amazing story. And I'm really glad that I was able to, hear it and meet with you.
no. And I think as well, it's when you're on a bike, if you have PTSD or if you don't or something, you do feel more physically free, don't you, of body and of mind on the bike than you do off it, really. And for me, there's definitely that connection between the mental and the physical freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, riding a bike is freedom incarnate for sure. I mean, there's nothing else like it. Makes you feel very free and very powerful. I've found it to, in the same, while it does kind of inflate my ego and give me this confidence that I didn't have before, it also, it keeps me in check in a very healthy way, right? Like I'm never overly ego driven. What I get out of it outweighs the risk by, 4 or 5 times that amount. So, yeah.
I was worrying before I went I was thinking about riding on a different side of the road. So,
Yeah.
first of all, I was thinking, oh, it's fine because there was lots of traffic in LA. So I was just sort of following traffic. But then at the end of the first day, before I got to where I was going, it was sort of dark. Well, it was dark. And then I suddenly realized that I was at the front of the traffic and I came to this sort of junction where I had to go left and then right. And I had no idea. I just sort of lost it totally. And I was thinking, and I know that I did it the English way, but that's the other weird thing. Everyone said, oh, LA drivers are really horrible. But everyone was really, really nice and forgiving as well.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I've never ridden motorcycles in California myself. I have friends that ride in California, and I think that it's definitely a different, from what I gather, I can't say for sure because again, I've not experienced it firsthand, but I feel like the culture out there is a little bit faster, right? So they have lane splitting is legal in California, being able to pass between cars and traffic on the median, and some other things like that.
We call that over here. So I was doing all the sorts of things that I would do in England, but not in California. I was, in rural places,
Right.
riding for hours and hours and hours and not see another motorcyclist or another car or anything. I've been to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I've been to Texas as well. I did car journeys there, but I would really. You didn't need to wear a helmet in Oklahoma, do you either?
No, you don't. I certainly do, and I certainly recommend it.
But I always wear a leather jacket, even if it's really hot. But over
Mhm.
there, I strap my jacket to the rest of the luggage on the back of the bike because it was, 46 degrees. It was so hot. So
Mhm.
didn't use the jacket at all.
Yet, when you're on those back roads and you're cruising, like it just feels good to have the wind on your arms. You know what I mean? Like there's.
Like I had this huge, great big. My friend gave me this really old sort of British military rucksack, and because I
Yeah.
was about everything, it's an old medics one, so it had a red cross, and I thought I'll strap that so that everyone can see the cross, just in case they think, oh, she must be a doctor or something, and they'll be extra kind to me. But
Yeah.
I have this huge load of stuff on the back. But everywhere I went, whenever I stopped, people would say, "Hey, I like your style," or. And I remember this. Occasionally, I'd meet another motorcyclist or something, and they'd say, if there was traffic or something, one bloke said to me, "Do you know what all the traffic's for?" And I said, "No." And then he said, "Where are you from?" Because he thought I was there, and I said, "England." And he said, "Where's that?" And I was going,
What?
"Yeah." But because he thought, because I was there, he thought it must be a town there or something. And I said,
Mhm.
England, Great Britain. And he said, what are you doing?
Love that.
Whereas,
Yeah, I love all the people you meet on the, well, I've met some people on the road that I'll say 99% of the people you meet on the road are awesome, especially the other motorcyclists. I've made some really good friends just like sitting under the roof of a gas station while it's raining hard, too hard to be riding or something that I'd rather sit out. Um, One time a guy pulled up next to me and asked me if he could park his sewing machine next to my Harley because he was riding a Honda Goldwing, and I really thought that that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard at the time.
I had one place I was at, I was talking to this bloke who was really, really nice. And we sort of rode together for a few hours or something, and we were chatting away. And then when I got back to England, where's your cat again? When I got back to England, I thought he was so nice. I'll send him a little present of things, particular to Devon. So I sent him some fudge, some, locally made fudge, and some locally made soap and things like that. He sent me a text afterwards, and he said, I can't do an American accent, okay, but I'm going to try. And he said, "Thank you so much for the gift. That was so kind." And he said, "I ate the candy. It was real good." He said, "Then I took a bite of the white candy, and it wasn't. It was soap."
Oh, I love that.
Hardened biker eating soap. I don't even remember where I was, but I was staying in Motel 6. And the woman there, who was the sort of organizer, whatever you call it, of the place. When I left, she came out and she said, "I got something for you." And she gave me this little tool. And she said she gives it to all the female motorcyclists. This little tool had a little knife in it and a corkscrew and a carabiner and some other things. But it was such a lovely thing. It was such a
Yeah.
lovely, and it made me feel, I don't know, sort of looked after.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so, motorcycling can be like many hobbies and industries can be a very male dominated place. And I find that there is kind of a sisterhood that you find with other women who ride motorcycles, like a beautiful kindredship. And I love stuff like that. I've had people, I mean, I can't think of like any road trip I've been on, riding with friends where we weren't using each other's stuff, right? Like here's my extra bungee cord, or, you know, gloves or whatever.
I'm going to use you again. I'm thinking about going out, I don't know, I'm not sure, anytime from sort of April. So I'll definitely be using Ride to Share again.
It's where it's really beautiful to ride. I mean, you know, there's the Talamina Drive there in eastern Oklahoma. And what that is, what Talamina is short for, is between Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and Mena, Arkansas. So it's a mountainous, like, curvy route that goes between, and Arkansas has absolutely beautiful riding.
Mad though, because when I was in Texas, I did a purely rural route. So
Mhm.
I did sort of, you know, go all over sort of Texas. But the state of Texas is 3 times the size of the whole of Great Britain. It's
Yeah.
3 times of England, Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. Couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's a huge, I mean, it's a huge place. It's I mean, it used to be a whole country to itself at one point. But you know, for a few years, but
And the roads are, you know, the roads are just brilliant. They're, you know, quite straight. But then if I say to people, you know, they sort of cut through mountains on the street, they say, yeah, that's really boring. But they're not at all boring. And I loved the way in Texas that the geography of, you know, the land was changing every hour.
oh yeah, there's so much to see, and changes of landscape, right? So even if you were to just, you know, say you don't do any back roads, even if you were to just drive Interstate 10, right? That's just an interstate that cuts right across the state of Texas. So you would start in Orange, Texas, and like it ends in El Paso. So those are like the 2 outermost points, right? Where it meets Louisiana and where it's meeting Mexico and New Mexico. You're going to see so much landscape, right? Like if you start in Orange, that's, or, you know, over on the Louisiana side, that's going to be swamps, trees, Spanish moss. You can go down to Galveston and you can get beach, you know, that Gulf experience. You can get that down in Corpus Christi as well. Obviously, lots of Latin and Mexican culture.
Other thing as well, because in California, I didn't see any sort of mammalian life. But in Texas, I saw loads. I actually saw a mountain lion in Texas, which was, and I saw it 2 days running. It was absolutely brilliant. But I really loved that as well. You know, the birds are so different. You have all these really beautiful scissor-tailed birds.
Yeah.
So lovely that I bought a book on, you know, Texan birds, and no, it's lovely.
It's the best. I do love Texas style barbecue. But again, my parents are from Texas, so I'm biased.
But no, so Rider Share, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want everyone here to use it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, just to kind of like circle back to us and what we do again, you know.
Thank you very much, Kendra.
Yeah, of course. It was great chatting with you. You know, I've had a lot of fun learning about your trip and about you. And hope we get to talk again.
Thank you very much.